Hey everybody. Wait a minute, that's not right. Let me get rid of him for a second. Welcome back to another episode of Safari Mack, where I'm your guide and host, helping you make connections to the wild. Well, ladies and gentlemen, would you believe it? We're still in Alaska, but we are now entering the very last week of October. And so today, I wanted to showcase the bat and call this a Safari Mack special. Now, I'm sure we're well familiar with the myths and legends of Dracula and vampires that suck on your blood, especially on Hallows Eve and such. However, I want to take that image and toss it out the window and showcase to you all the true nature of these magnificent creatures. But as always, if you're new to my channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Check out my Facebook page for special content on conservation projects that you can do in your own backyard or inside your own home. And finally, if you have questions about animals or if there's an animal that you want me to do in the future, all you gotta do is just send me an email, which you will always find the address down in the description below. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get started. So instead of going right into their evolution and their family, we're going to just start off with the common myths and misconceptions. I'm sure you've probably heard of these. That they're blind, they're related to rodents, and that they drink blood. Well, I can tell you right now, all of it, wrong. 1,000 times wrong. Here, I'm going to showcase to you what the truth is. Now, if you think that bats in general are related to rodents, that couldn't be any further from the truth. For one thing, there's just way too many differences. For one thing, here's one to really put your mind at ease. Rodents such as rats and mice, they don't really have much of a long life. It was even once mentioned in the third Harry Potter film with the rodent Scabbers being in the family for 12 years. Curiously long life for a common garden rat. They're usually 3 to 4 years. Bats, not so much. If anything, they could live a long time. Some species are actually known to live around 20 years of age before meeting their demise. Another misconception is of blindness. Bats, not only can they see well in the dark, they have a special ability that's called echolocation. I'm sure you've probably heard of this back in some of my previous episodes, such as dolphins and whales. That's because the bat uses this same feature to help locate food, from insects to fruit, special flowers, even fish. Believe it or not, there are some species that actually go fishing. And finally, alright, there is one species of bat called the vampire bat. Don't worry, it's not going to turn into a human, but they will drink blood. But don't worry, they're not going after your blood. If anything, they're more likely to go after the blood of livestock. So your chickens, your pig, your cow, all of that. And you would only find these guys down in Central America, as well as maybe parts of South America. But like I said, you don't need to worry about these guys. They're not going to do you any harm. So bats can be basically found across a majority of the continents, even here in Alaska. I know what you're thinking. Wait, there's bats in Alaska? Believe it or not, there are. There's actually said to be 6 to 7 species, as you can see here. And thankfully, the majority of these guys are true insect eaters. Now, let's just get one thing clear. I'm sure those who live in Alaska or anywhere up in the northern hemisphere, especially around the tundra district, you know that mosquitoes are everywhere. In fact, if you stood out in a field and with a swarm of mosquitoes, you probably would be sucked dry within 30 minutes. You would be dead. Thanks to the bat, though, they eat them. In fact, if anything, we should consider these to be the most effective pest control, as one bat can eat around 6,000 to 8,000 bats in a night. Ooh, excuse me. Anyway, in fact, a mom bat will consume probably half her own body weight in food, in this case, insects, just to be able to produce enough milk to sustain her baby. And eating all that insect and all that other richness produces a great amount of poop, or what we would like to call guano, which actually has been proven that it's very rich in nitrogen and makes an excellent fertilizer. However, of course, I'm not telling you to go out to where bats live, which here in Alaska would be in caves as well as old abandoned mines. Don't go in and start harvesting their poop. If anything, you may want to go to a reputable source first, just for safety reasons. Now, it's amazing how in Alaska, these creatures really have, according to the Alaskan Department of Fish and Game, we've learned a lot about the ecology of bats in Alaska in the last few years through research and citizen science. So, if you've been with me for long, I've mentioned to you a few times about how you, the everyday citizen, can contribute to conservation and science just right by reporting where an animal is. You're helping big time. So, for those who live in Alaska and are watching this video, give yourself a big round of applause because you've earned it. And you have, of course, have my thanks. So now you see that there's proof. However, bats still need help today because unfortunately, while we are turning away from the, Dracula and that Hollywood scene, they're still being viewed negatively. And of course, they can pose problems at times. It's not their fault. And when I say problems, I mean like some can, unfortunately, they can carry rabies, so that's why you never touch them, stay away from them, and let the professionals handle it. And they are known, unfortunately, to crowd in areas where you don't want them, like the attic. But that's not their fault. They're just trying to survive. I mean, we need to give these guys serious respect. I mean, not only are they gardeners, but as of now, there are certain plants in this world that rely on bats actually for pollination. They've evolved so much that if the bats were to go bye-bye, so too does the food, so too does the entire ecosystem. So now how can you help bats today? It's simple. For starters, you'll want to start by reducing light pollution. If anything, you can see down here in this corner how different kinds of lighting can help save bats and keep them safe in the dark. Another way you can help them, build bat houses. You can make sure, of course, you have permission with your make sure you have permission to be able to put it up first. But once you do, you can either build one yourself or you can buy one. If anything, I will leave for you guys, if you want to help bats after watching this episode, I can leave you a link down in the description as to where you can find bat houses or even learn how to build your own bat houses. Because even this small box, even the box can house around 100 bats at a time. In fact, one of my favorite examples of a bat house actually happens to be the bat house at the University of Florida up in Gainesville, which I had the privilege around 10 years ago this time to actually witness bats leaving on their nightly hunt. It was pretty cool to watch. Well, and there's many ways that you can help these creatures. Leave dead trees where they are. You don't use pesticides. Plant a pollinator-friendly garden. Even report bats to wherever you see them, because by doing that, you're helping save the species and continue a really critical, important element in this circle of life. Thank you all for joining me on this special Halloween episode, and be sure to join me next weekend for the Snowy Owl. But until then, this is Safari Mack, and I'll see you all out there.